Edmund Emil Kemper III, known to the world as Ed Kemper, was born on December 18, 1948, in Burbank, California. From the very beginning, his life was shaped by family dynamics that would leave lasting psychological scars. His mother, Clarnell Kemper, was domineering and excessively critical, often belittling him and demanding perfection in every aspect of his life. His father, Edmund Kemper Jr., was largely absent, providing little emotional guidance or support. From a young age, Kemper struggled to navigate these conflicting influences. He was sensitive yet volatile, intelligent yet socially awkward, and deeply affected by his mother's harsh criticisms. As a child, Kemper displayed troubling behaviors that set him apart from his peers. He showed early signs of aggression and cruelty, particularly toward animals. His fascination with death began at a young age, and he often contemplated life, mortality, and control in ways that were beyond his years. School was a challenge for him, not because of a lack of intelligence — he was highly intelligent — but because of difficulties forming connections with other children. He preferred to observe rather than participate, quietly studying the world around him, cataloging behaviors, and noticing details others overlooked. During adolescence, these tendencies intensified. Kemper became increasingly isolated, struggling to maintain friendships and cope with his growing anger and resentment toward his mother. He experienced profound feelings of rejection and humiliation, and these emotions contributed to a developing sense of entitlement and dominance. He imagined scenarios where he could exert control over others, sometimes acting out these thoughts privately. Experts later identified these formative years as critical in shaping the psychological profile of a man who would later commit heinous crimes. In the late 1960s, Kemper's violent impulses began to manifest in the most extreme ways. At the age of 15, after years of pent-up anger, he murdered his grandparents in a brutal attack. The killing of his grandmother, in particular, reflected the intensity of his rage toward parental figures and authority. Kemper was arrested and committed to a psychiatric institution, where his intelligence and unusual behavior attracted the attention of mental health professionals. They noted a combination of psychopathy, high cognitive ability, and deep-seated emotional disturbance. This early intervention, however, did not completely quell his violent urges. After several years in the institution, Kemper was released and attempted to reintegrate into society. He worked odd jobs, maintained a household, and even pursued personal relationships. To outsiders, he appeared functional, capable, and responsible. But beneath this facade, his fascination with control, death, and manipulation persisted. He meticulously planned his actions, studying behaviors, learning methods to commit crimes while avoiding detection, and continuing to develop his understanding of human psychology. In 1972, Kemper began targeting young female college students, earning him the infamous nickname, Co-Ed Killer. His victims were often hitchhikers or young women he encountered in public places. Kemper's methods were precise. He would pick up women, gain their trust, and then murder them, typically through strangulation. He sometimes engaged in disturbing post-mortem behaviors, reflecting a need for dominance and control even after death. The precision, planning, and consistency of his crimes demonstrated his ability to compartmentalize his public persona from his violent urges, allowing him to evade detection for months at a time. What made Kemper particularly terrifying was his towering physical presence and outward intelligence. Standing over 6 feet tall and described as physically imposing, he could intimidate and manipulate others easily. Despite this, he often went unnoticed because he was articulate, polite, and outwardly normal. He interacted with neighbors, colleagues, and even law enforcement without raising suspicion. This ability to blend into society is part of what has fascinated criminologists and true crime enthusiasts for decades. The investigation into Kemper's murders was painstaking. Authorities worked tirelessly to link the killings, analyzing patterns in the selection of victims, locations, and methods. The randomness of the murders, combined with Kemper's intelligence, made the case extremely challenging. Investigators initially struggled to identify him as the perpetrator, as he left little physical evidence and varied his approach to avoid creating predictable patterns. The fear in the community was palpable, as women went missing, and the public remained unaware of who might be the next target. In 1973, after committing his final murders, Kemper turned himself in. He contacted law enforcement voluntarily, admitting to his crimes and offering detailed accounts of each murder. His confessions revealed not only the methods and planning involved but also his psychological motivations. Kemper described the thrill of control, the satisfaction derived from evading capture, and the meticulous attention to detail he applied to each crime. Law enforcement was both horrified and fascinated by his willingness to discuss his thoughts and actions openly. Kemper's trial was closely observed by the media, psychologists, and the public. His case provided a unique insight into the mind of a serial killer who combined intelligence with emotional disturbance. Experts analyzed the influence of his upbringing, his relationship with his mother, and the early signs of violent behavior. The court sentenced him to life imprisonment without parole, ensuring he would never harm another person. His incarceration became a point of study for criminal psychologists and law enforcement, offering valuable lessons on early warning signs, the development of violent behavior, and the complexities of psychopathy. Even today, Ed Kemper remains a subject of intense fascination. His interviews, conducted from prison, provide chilling insight into his mindset. They reveal the dissonance between outward normalcy and hidden malevolence, demonstrating how intelligence, social skill, and psychological disturbance can coexist. Criminologists study his case to understand the motivations behind serial killings, the importance of early intervention, and the challenges of identifying dangerous individuals before tragedy occurs. Kemper's story continues to resonate because it forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about human nature, trust, and observation. It reminds us that appearances can be deceptive and that danger can sometimes be hidden behind a mask of normalcy. His crimes impacted families, communities, and the broader field of criminal psychology, leaving a lasting legacy that continues to inform both law enforcement and public awareness. As we reflect on the life and crimes of Ed Kemper, one question remains haunting and unavoidable: could someone intelligent, articulate, and outwardly normal, living quietly among us, harbor impulses so dark that we might never suspect them until it is too late?